The diamond ring shattered against the wall, sending glittering fragments scattering like the remnants of trust once held dear. In that sudden burst of light, I realized betrayal had been slipping in quietly. I'd missed the subtle signs: Sebastian's unexplained late nights every Tuesday and Thursday, Fiona's once accessible designer handbags now bearing a steeper price tag. I was too caught up in planning the perfect wedding, the perfect life with my perfect fiancé, and a friendship I believed unbreakable. My name is Cassandra, and that day I learned that perfection is nothing more than a polished mask for hidden lies. "You're being dramatic," Fiona drawled as she stepped into the doorway, her smirk sharp and knowing. With a casual flourish, she lifted her left hand to reveal an engagement ring far more ornate than the one I'd just thrown. "Sebastian and I, it just happened. Sometimes love doesn't play by your rules." "Love?" I managed a laugh that quickly turned to a sob. "We've been best friends for 10 years. 10 years, Cass," she snapped. "Did you really think someone like Sebastian would settle for?" Her hand swept dismissively over my simple black dress and practical heels, as if they were nothing but a poor afterthought. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Sebastian read, "I'm sorry you had to learn it this way, but Fiona makes me happier than you ever could." My fingers trembled on the desk. "Get out," I whispered, barely audible. "Gladly. And don't worry about the wedding venue, we'll handle it," she replied coolly. Before turning away, she added, "Isn't it funny? Sebastian said you were so wrapped up in your business that you never noticed us. Maybe if you had paid a little more attention." The door clicked shut, and I sank into my chair, staring at the spreadsheet that now betrayed our joint investment account. Sebastian's claim that I'd quietly signed it all over to him. My phone rang again. It was Amelia, my sister. "Pat, I just heard. Are you okay?" Wiping away my tears, I forced steadiness into my voice. "No, but I will be." As I navigated the investment documents, a quiet resolve began to take shape. "Hey, Kat," Amelia teased softly. "Remember when Dad said the best revenge is the one they never see coming?" I hesitated, then answered, "I'm fine. I need to call Theodore about some paperwork. Talk later." I stared at the shattered remains of my engagement ring. They believed they had won, that they had broken me. They forgot one crucial thing. I wasn't merely the glamorous bride-to-be who organized charity galas and selected delicate china. I was the one who built this company from nothing, and I was about to remind them exactly who they were dealing with. "The investment is worth how much?" Theodore's question nearly made him choke on his coffee, sending droplets across the scattered documents. "3 million, I said flatly, sliding another paper his way. Sebastian had convinced Fiona they'd be millionaires by Christmas. What he didn't know was that I'd never filed the final transfer papers. The morning sun streamed through the office windows, illuminating the empty space where Sebastian's desk had once stood. Yesterday, he'd cleared it out, leaving behind only a faded photo from last year's charity gala, a memory I had already discarded along with his deceit. Theodore leaned forward, his expression grave. "Are you sure you want to do this? Once we dissolve the partnership, there's no turning back. They're already eyeing houses in the hills." I cut him off. "It's money they think they own, money that is legally mine." My phone buzzed again with a text from Fiona. "Lunch today? We should talk about the wedding. I'm thinking of keeping your color scheme. Hope that's not too awkward." I showed it to Theodore, who shook his head slowly. "That's cold. That's Fiona." I pulled up the company accounts on my laptop. "Look at this. Sebastian's been promising investors returns based on projections he can't deliver without my stake." Theodore scanned the numbers and murmured, "He's really in deep here, and Fiona has no idea. She thinks she's marrying a successful businessman." I smiled, but it was a smile devoid of warmth. The illusion of perfection was crumbling, and I was ready to reclaim what was mine. I forced a smile, but it felt as hollow as the betrayal coursing through me. Instead of warmth, I only tasted bitterness at the thought. She's ending up with a man who can't even read his own contract. The office door swung open and Harrison burst in. "Pat, what are you doing?" he demanded, concern and disbelief tangled in his voice. "Amelia just called. She says you're planning something reckless." "Nice to see you, little brother." I didn't look up from my laptop. "Shouldn't you be at work? Stop deflecting." Harrison pulled a chair over and sat down, his steady gaze urging me to explain. You can't destroy someone just because they hurt you. I met his eyes, my tone sharper than I intended. Watch me. They deserve every bit of this. The words tumbled out as I recalled how they laughed at me. Even went so far as to plan my wedding venue, my venue. Theodore cleared his throat. I hate to interrupt, but you need to see this. He turned his tablet toward me. On the screen, Sebastian's failed attempt to access our main investment account flashed before my eyes, followed by a frantic call to the bank. They'll figure it out soon, Theodore murmured. I drew a deep breath and straightened my spine. Good. Let them panic. I picked up my phone and quickly texted Fiona. Lunch sounds perfect. The usual place at 1? Cassandra, Harrison warned softly. Don't do this. But I was already signing the dissolution papers, my signature smooth and unwavering. Too late, Leo. The game's already started. I handed the documents to Theodore. File these immediately. A bitter smile tugged at my lips. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It comes with a smile and a side of financial ruin. Later, in Amelia's kitchen where the afternoon sun cast long, restless shadows on marble countertops, her confession struck me like a sledgehammer. I slept with Sebastian, she admitted, voice trembling. I set my coffee mug down as if it were fragile, afraid it might shatter like the remnants of my trust. What? I whispered, disbelief lacing every word. It was before you two got together, she rushed, hands shaking. 6 years ago. I repeated slowly, we? It was just once. Then she hesitated. But there's more. More. I laughed bitterly, a harsh, unfamiliar sound. The thought of my sister with my ex-fiancé, the very man who drove me away, cut deeper than I expected. He was the reason I left town. The reason I missed Dad's last Christmas. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too stifling. Dad knew. I asked, voice barely a whisper. He found out. That's why he wrote the letter. Amelia rose and retrieved a yellowed envelope from a drawer. I couldn't face everyone after what happened, so I ran. Sebastian promised he'd never tell you. And that makes it okay? I pushed away from the counter, needing space. Did Fiona know? She shook her head. At least I don't think so. Her voice cracked. Pat, I'm so sorry. When I heard you two were dating, I should have said something. At that moment, Harrison reappeared, his eyes narrowing. What's going on? He demanded. Ask our sister, I spat bitterly. Apparently, she's got quite the history with Sebastian. Pat, please. Amelia reached out, but I stepped back. I never meant to hurt you. I burst out, the pain and anger mingling. But you did. You let me fall in love with him, plan a future with him. Knowing what you knew. Were you ever going to tell me? Harrison stepped between us. Both of you calm down. Pat, whatever you're planning with the company isn't helping. Oh, it's helping plenty. I snapped, snatching the envelope from Amelia's hand. Dad knew. He had to watch me plan my wedding to the man who. I faltered. Don't read it here, Amelia pleaded. Take it home. There's too much in that letter. About Dad, about all of us. Save it, I replied, shoving the letter into my bag. I have lunch with your ex-lover's new fiancé anyway. As I reached the door, Harrison called after me. Cassandra, don't let this drag you down further. Revenge won't fix anything. I paused, hand gripping the doorframe. Funny, I thought I was doing this because Sebastian and Fiona betrayed me. I turned to face my siblings, my voice icy. Now I'm doing it because betrayal runs in this family. The door slammed behind me, and I heard Amelia's quiet sobs. Back at my desk, Colette stared at me. A mix of horror and reluctant admiration in her eyes. You actually invited them to dinner? She asked. Are you insane? I replied, straightening a stack of papers while avoiding her gaze. I need them to think I'm moving on, even as I silently dismantle their world. Moving on while secretly destroying their lives? She pressed, shaking her head. Girl, this is next level. My phone buzzed, a text from Fiona. Dinner sounds amazing. Sebastian's relieved you're being mature about this. See you Saturday. I glanced at it, then handed Colette a USB drive. Look at this, I said coolly. Everything I found on Fiona's past business ventures. 3 failed startups, 2 investor lawsuits, each one hidden behind a different name. I raised an eyebrow. How did you? I trailed off. Money talks, I guess. I managed a grim smile. Once I mentioned her name, her former partners became all too loquacious. Colette slid the drive into her computer. Her eyes widened as she scrolled through the documents. Holy shit, she breathed. She bankrupted her own sister's company and blamed it on market conditions. I leaned back, letting the bitter truth sink in. Sebastian has no idea who he's really marrying. A knock at the door made us both jump. Harrison entered, holding a manila envelope. Amelia asked me to give you this, he said softly. More family secrets? I asked bitterly. Or just more lies? Harrison shook his head. It's Dad's letter. He said it's on the desk, the real one. What Amelia gave you yesterday was just the envelope. I stared at the envelope, my hand hovering above it. I don't want to read it, I murmured. You need to, Harrison insisted, his tone gentle. Before you go through with this dinner. Before you do something you can't take back. Like sleeping with someone's future fiancé. His words burned, tasting like poison on my tongue. Pat, save it, I snapped, shoving the envelope into my drawer. I have a dinner to plan. Colette cleared her throat. Speaking of plans, Theodore just called. The dissolution papers went through, and Sebastian's been trying to reach you. My phone lit up, 17 missed calls from Sebastian. I allowed a grim smile as I imagined his panic when he realized the money was gone. You should answer him, Harrison urged. This isn't you, Pat. You're not vindictive. Maybe I wasn't before, I admitted quietly as I gathered my things. But people change. Just ask Amelia. Stepping out, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. You think you're clever playing these games, but you have no idea what you're getting into. L. I showed it to Colette, whose frown deepened. Is Fiona threatening you now? I shook my head, a chill running down my spine. No. That's not Fiona's style. This is someone else. Suddenly, the letter in my drawer felt heavier, as if it were burning through the wood. An ominous secret waiting to upend everything. At the cafe, the lunchtime buzz filled the air, yet our table remained cloaked in icy silence. Sebastian fidgeted, adjusting his tie. A nervous habit I'd once found endearing but now only made him look pathetic. So, Fiona chirped, stirring her untouched latte. About the investment account. I slid my tablet across the table. Here's the complete record of the company's financials, dissolution papers included. Sebastian's face went pale. You can't do this, he stammered. I already did, I said, taking a deliberate sip of my coffee and savoring the moment. And those investors you promised returns? They're dying to know where their money went. Cassandra, be reasonable, Fiona pleaded, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. We can work something out. We're still friends. Friends, I scoffed, then pulled out my phone and pressed play on a recording. Fiona's voice rang out, crisp and calculating. Sebastian's loaded, and Cassandra's too busy playing businesswoman to keep him happy. It was all laid out as planned. The color drained from Fiona's face. Where did you get that? She demanded. Remember that charity gala last month? You were all over the bathroom. You should have checked under the stalls. Sebastian slammed his fist on the table, sending cups rattling. This is blackmail. No, I replied evenly. This is karma. I stood and smoothed my dress. By the way, Fiona, those investors from your sister's company? They send their regards. You bitch, she hissed, her perfect mask finally cracking. You have no idea what you're doing. Actually, I do, I said, my voice steady and clear. For the first time, I see everything for what it is. Picked up my purse, including how you two deserve each other. As I turned to leave, Sebastian reached out and grabbed my arm. Cassandra, wait. There's something you don't understand about your father. I yanked free, my eyes blazing. Don't you dare mention my father. He knew things. Sebastian's voice dropped to a harsh whisper, and in that moment, every secret and every betrayal echoed with irreversible finality. Things were unraveling, things that could hurt a lot of people, even Amelia. Suddenly, the cafe felt unbearably cramped. Every face a reminder of secrets I wasn't sure I wanted to confront. What are you talking about? A low voice asked. Ask your sister about the real reason she left town. His eyes were raw with fear, something I'd never seen before. And read that letter before you go any further with this. Is that a threat? I managed my pulse quickening. It's a warning, he replied quietly. Then he rose, helping Fiona gather her scattered things. You're playing with fire, Cassandra. And you're not the only one who's going to get burned. I watched them leave, the taste of victory turning bitter and hollow in my mouth. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Time's running out. The truth won't stay buried forever. In my back, the letter felt as if it were burning a hole through the leather. Whatever secrets it held, whatever truth Sebastian hinted at, I wasn't sure I was ready to face it. Yet I was in too deep to stop now. Later, across the sterile conference room table, Theodore's voice was grim as he flicked through email after email on the projector screen. They're saying you embezzled funds, he said, his tone heavy. Sebastian's been contacting all our major clients, claiming you've been cooking the books for years. My hands trembled as I scrolled through accusations. Fraud, money laundering, tax evasion. Each claim more outrageous than the last. It's all lies, I whispered. Of course it is, Theodore replied, squeezing my shoulder. But lies can do real damage. We've already lost 2 accounts. My phone rang again, Amelia, for the 7th time today. I declined the call. You need to talk to your sister, Theodore said softly. And whatever's in that letter, don't. I stood pacing the room. I couldn't deal with family drama right now, not when everything I'd built was under siege. The door burst open. Harrison rushed in, breathless. Pat, turn on the news. Now. Theodore snatched the remote and switched to the local business channel. My heart nearly stopped when Fiona's face filled the screen, tears streaming down a face that was too perfectly made up. Deeply concerned about the company's finances, she declared. As Sebastian's fiancé, I felt compelled to act, yet the manipulative glint in her eyes made me hesitate. I reached for my phone, but Theodore caught my wrist. Don't, he said. That's exactly what they want. She's destroying everything. Before I could respond, Harrison stepped forward and produced a crinkled envelope. Dad's letter, he said, voice cracking. You're letting them destroy everything. Read it, Pat. Please. My hands trembled as I took the envelope. Why is this so important to everyone? I asked. Because Dad knew, Harrison replied, his voice thick with emotion. He knew about Sebastian, the company, and why Amelia really left. Before I could muster another word, my assistant rushed in. MS. Cassandra, there's a courier here with legal documents from MS. Fiona's lawyers. What now? I snapped, snatching the envelope and tearing it open. My blood ran cold as the contents spilled out. Pat. Theodore moved closer. What is it? She's suing me, I said, laughing, a laugh that teetered on the edge of hysteria. For defamation, harassment, emotional distress. And that's not all. Harrison's quiet voice pointed to the TV, where a scrolling headline read, Breaking. Federal investigation launched into tech startup financial dealings. My phone buzzed again. The unknown number. Last chance to back down. I sank into my chair, the weight of every secret and betrayal crushing me. Before me lay the letter. Dad's familiar handwriting barely visible on the thin paper. Fine, I whispered, reaching for it. Let's see what secrets you're hiding, Dad. But as I began to open it, Harrison's phone rang. His face turned ashen as he listened. It's Amelia, he said. She's in the hospital.